the show, please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, TuneIn Radio, and I actually fixed Spotify this week, so Spotify should be good to go again. And that way you can get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our patrons. Here we go. Deep breath. Demon Hunter 2, Aggie Jedi Master, Electric Water Boy, who has something interesting in the chat room if you want to go check that out. He posted something interesting. Antaeus, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger. He's in Germany, but he'll be back, and he is who we'll have on next week. Nick at Cashly 4.3.2. Hope I didn't mess that up, but you get the idea. New Cashly out there. One Kind Word, Butterfly Girl, Loon Trackers, the Aussie Geocacher back in Oz, Sodak Zach, the Deadliest Cachers, Terrell 2, Neil Moore, Team D&D. They were over in my neck of the woods today, Jesse. They were doing the AR cache, so thanks.
Yeah, I got all kinds of messages this week about people making AR caches.
Right. So thanks, Team D&D, for making the trek all the way over from Denton to do the AR cache. Geocaching Adam, Peachy 1276, the No Code Geocachers, Curiosity Girl, Tick Magnet, Marsipanic, Bricker John, Firesafe, FS Sabero, Geo Rick, Cache Addict Mel, Geocaching Janji, the Geocaching Junkie, Sir Drumalot, Janice, Tricashius, Tom Frey, Rugels, the Bruce Zero, EGK, PBR, Casamaya, Master Sergeant USMC, Little Gears, Albedo 0.39, It's Only Barney, Purple Turtles 3, ACDC Family, None of It Tidy, AFK Geocaching, Josh Boggs, and our new patrons, Carrot Killer, Korsgat, Geocaching with Lampe, Brent Tim 07, Dave and Karen of Cache Canada, Team Tailwagger, Black Chrome, Supernate, The Twonky, Burnt Turtles, Padib, Kazelli, Dragon, and I know it could be Dragon, it's Dragon, Gunter Hunters, Acme Wild Cachers, and ADK Sarah. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get X tags, coins, and let me come back to that in a second, and other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content and invites to special event only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. And why I want to come back to that, and let me jump right into the show 103 for June 17th as I welcome my co-host, Jesse.
Hey, how's it going?
The reason I want to jump back to that is because we're out of coins. Spoiler alert, we're out of coins. These guys, they are gone. I think you got like, you have yours and I have one. So anyway,
I got to travel with mine a little bit this weekend. In fact,
I know. And we noticed sometimes Zach takes his to all sorts all over. He took it to the Super Bowl this year, but so I don't know how much. I'm going to let you talk about the coin because I'm probably going to spoil more than you want me to spoil. So I don't know. What do you want to say about the coins?
That we're getting more.
Yeah,
we won't say what the design is or whatever yet, but we're not just gonna give that up. And
no,
we love the design so much. Yet Heather's already said we're gonna have more coins.
More coins coming,
but there's no more of those.
Right,
that coin there, that's limited edition. We're only doing so many of them, and they're my, I am a little bit biased, I would say, but they're my favorite coin that I have in my collection right now. So I don't want to just make more and make them less special. We got something I think really cool coming out. Another coin is going to happen, and I'm really excited about it. So we'll get more details as we get all the details coming in, but that's great that we have this growing patron family, and we can spread some of those coins out there and do some more of that stuff, because I like having really cool coins to add to the collection.
Yeah.
That need a limit. It's like an addiction.
Yeah. And we want them, and Jesse and I are committed to doing quality stuff. So, There's other stuff in the works as far as these kind of items for
Mhm.
later in the year that we're working on, that we're very excited about. But coins, so all the new patrons, if you're like, hey, where's my coin? They'll be coming soon. So do not worry, do not fret. That's why you haven't got anything probably in the
Yeah, we're
mail.
not leaving
Yet.
anybody out in the cold.
Nope, nope. Okay, we got some news. We're not going to go through a lot of it. But we want to hit a couple items,
But there's
and
a
then we
lot
got
going on right now.
there is a ton going on, and so and if you've got your drink nearby, I'm sure there'll be plenty of times that I'll say that's for another show. So
Absolutely.
okay,
Your glass of milk.
yeah. Well, I've got coffee tonight because I got to try to
Oh,
stay awake.
there
So,
you go.
but whatever your drink of choice is,
But before we get started,
please imbibe. Yes,
it is
sir.
Father's Day, so we want to say Happy Father's Day. If anybody's now or watching it, listen to it later. We're
Mhm.
doing this on Father's Day, so Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. And I think my dad is actually listening right now too. So
Oh,
Happy
cool.
Father's Day to my dad. He may or may not be in the chat room. He's going to be lurking, so we'll see.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I think, I guess you both your daughters, you got to, they all
Yeah.
said hi to you today, or did they give you anything or?
Oh yeah, we did all the we did the presents and breakfast in
Mhm.
bed and got to go
Oh man,
hiking
that's
and have a
sweet.
whole big weekend. It was great and
That's cool.
a new tie, which I used to laugh at when I was a kid. Oh,
Mhm.
fathers get ties. That sucks. No,
Right.
that's great.
That's good.
It's a Yankees tie, so that's great.
Sweet.
And some other stuff that we did, but really for us, and this people will probably laugh at it, but every family is different, right? What I
Mhm.
got to do today was relax. I got to sleep. Well, I didn't really sleep in
There
that
you
much,
go.
but slept in.
Yeah.
Got to lay around, just watch TV and hanging out, and really, I took a nap, which is awesome.
Wow, Jesse
Which
taking
you
a
give up
nap.
in like kindergarten, and then you don't realize what you're giving up until you become an adult.
Right.
And for our family that goes nonstop, that was huge. So it was a
Awesome.
great weekend for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I got to talk to all three of my kids. So that was great. And I actually watched the US Open. Probably wasn't that exciting, but it was interesting. It was sort of an endurance race to those golfers were trying to just survive that course. But that's what I try to do every, like you said, things that not everybody's going to do, but things that you want to do is hopefully
Hmm.
what fathers got to do today. But um, so we didn't really go geocaching because we had a big garage sale and stuff going on, and sometimes life doesn't really lend itself necessarily to going out all the time. But we're we're hoping to sell the house, and that way we get more opportunities to go geocaching. So
We got a little
um,
geocaching in. I'm trying to
yeah,
help my dad get in the chat room right now too.
okay, cool.
That's why I'm looking away.
You were
We got a
Christine.
few in, but we weren't really focusing on that
Mhm.
this weekend. We got a few. We got
Right.
to visit my favorite place, Garden of the Gods and stuff. Um,
That's awesome.
I may have gotten some Earth caches. I don't know yet, so we'll find out. We'll see if my answers are right. But
Right. If your answers are good, if
I don't have a
not,
100% success rate on those. So
then you didn't find them.
that's
It's
right. I was
that's the
there.
whole. Yeah.
Saw the big rock, but we'll see if my information matches with what they think.
Right. Exactly. Okay. June 27th through July 25th. Earn up to 13 mythical creature souvenirs by finding geocaches or attending events. It's the magical creatures
Hmm.
thing.
Do we want to give an opinion on that?
Mm,
I'll give mine. Okay.
okay. I give mine
I
too.
think this is. I think they've been going up and up and up, and AR caches and these other Friends League, great, and then this one they just kind of crap this one out.
Yeah.
This would not be my favorite one. It's just only about numbers, which is okay because this year, oddly
It
enough, that is my
it is
focus.
it is
So I'm
about
going
the
to go out and get
numbers.
it anyway. But
Right.
this is
Of
only
course.
1 point for one thing, and I kind of liked, and granted, they need to try different things, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to shotgun blast a bunch of different things, and I think they're going to come up with some at the end and go, "This is, something newer
Mhm.
and better." I don't know what the purpose of trying for this one is. They just want people to go out and get 100 caches in a weekend. I mean, in a month. But I don't
Yeah.
know. But it came out, and then it's overshadowed by this AR thing anyway. So it's kind
Even
of
though,
if it was alone, it would be okay. It's overshadowed now. So
yeah, I see. I don't. I really think that they didn't really plan this out a little bit better. I mean, and hey, we've all been there. We've all done stuff. We're like, well, we didn't really think through that.
no, never,
No, never. But
not at all.
The AR geocache thing, I don't know if they were really prepared for. I mean, because we found about it just through a post. I mean,
Yeah, there was no announcement for it.
there was no announcement at all. But all of a sudden, there's what are we up to now? We're over 100, I guess, right? I'll have to check that out.
I'll check it.
Okay. While you're doing that, let me give you a really quick opinion because we got other stuff to do. But there's no friend league involved, so why do we even have the friend league anymore? I mean, what's the? I mean, I don't know.
So I think they'll come back to it though.
Hopefully they will. Hopefully they will.
So we're at 112.
Okay. See,
which coincidentally is the exact number of webcams currently enabled in the U.S.
Oh no, we got 112.
So the next published one beats webcams.
Beats webcams. That sucks. But
yeah, whatever.
There is a chance we can maybe sneak webcams in. Did your other one publish yet?
No. So my reviewer is actually helping me with that one.
Okay.
Because there is the hang up about taking selfies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he is actually trying to help me. I'm not going to name him on air, but he is actually trying to help. He's talked because they have to talk to HQ about it. Mm-hmm. He's talked to them and he's trying to get it worked through where I put some different language in so I can get that second one done.
Oh, okay. Geocaching.
We'll get to it later. I don't want to get that's for another show, right? So
yeah,
I don't get that other part right now.
Yeah, when we'll get. Oh yeah, that's for patrons. We're gonna do a little patron minute. The patron minute after the show.
Yeah, just a quick update related to the last one, and hopefully that was valuable too. The last patron show we did about the AR caches are really step by step, and I'd love to hear from people that are if they've used that and they've been able to do something with it. Shoot us an email, let us know. But we're gonna give out some more information after the show. I don't really want to spread it everywhere. Actually, I do want to spread it everywhere, but I'm going to give them first crack at this information first, and there's just a little 5-minute blurb afterwards.
Yeah. So I noticed Geocaching Owen said there's some weird AR event. I didn't know you could do an AR event. So Geocaching Wayne Borman. So send us if you can the GC for that. I'd like to.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
Well, there's going to be ones.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think about it. That's really cool. Well, it has to be a mystery, doesn't it? Not an event.
It is a mystery, but you could have an event like a workshop, probably.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Trackable updates. We're not going to really talk about that. There's, the ducks
still ongoing.
The ducks are out there. So we do want to talk about, and we're going to try to flip flop each week. We're going to not give virtual reward and webcams both weeks. So we're going to start alternating. So this week,
unless a milestone is hit.
Yeah, unless something happens. Right. Exactly. We do want to talk about virtual rewards a little bit tonight because we got an email we'll talk about here in a second. But where are we at right now?
Virtual rewards were up to 1612. So it's still moving.
Not bad. And I'm
hopefully it'll start moving faster.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? I've got two links that I'm going to put in the show notes so you can check them out later. But two links from Josh Boggs that he sent me this week. If you have a virtual cache and you're kind of starting to wonder what you would like to do, I know a lot of people are kind of wondering about, finding just the right thing to make a virtual cache out of. He's got a couple suggested websites. One's the Atlas Obscura website, where it has what they call it curious and forgotten places. It's kind of cool. It's there's a lot of interesting places that people kind of forget that are out there that probably would really
neat ideas out there.
Yeah. The other one is it's called roadtrippers.com, and it also has really cool things about like what's the story behind the concrete arrows that are abandoned across America.
Oh
That's
yeah,
kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
there's some here in Colorado even.
Yeah, yeah, and so some different locations that I think can kind of get forgotten. And so, anyway, a couple cool sites that people might want to check out, even if you just want to go check out sort of strange, obscure places. And I'm sure there's probably some cache there, but they may not have a virtual there, so they might be good candidates. Okay. Cachely 4.3.2. Did I get that right? I'm gonna
Yeah,
screw that up.
4.3.2.
Did I get it right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really going to talk about it tonight because we're going to talk about it on July 8th. Nick of Cachely is actually going to be on the show, and he's going to talk about all the new updates in 4.3.2. Also, we'll talk about Apple Watch. And I just want to make a little disclaimer that we're also basically going to talk about wearables. So, all you Android people out there, don't send me an email. Just enjoy the show because some of the stuff will translate to other. It doesn't have to be Apple. It could be other type of devices that we're going to talk about that you might be able to use. So,
But for now,
yeah,
we're going to use that to. It'll apply to other things, but I'd be interested for our by the time that we have Nick on to have some of the listeners get out and play with that new feature. I'm going to do the same with my watch as well, and then we'll have some actual information about it instead of just being breaking. We'll have some good questions because I always have questions when Nick comes on. Hey, can we do this? How do we do this? And I'm always like, hey, this would be a real good idea. He's like, yeah, it already does that. He's got to go here. And I'm like, oh, awesome.
Oh yeah, show us. Oh yeah, yeah. We do
know, and you're really good. And then he comes on. He's like, yeah, it already does that, dude.
That's okay though. We all learn by doing that. By you asking those questions, it works perfect.
Well, that's why we have him on, right? It's awesome.
That's right. Absolutely. So we're looking forward to that. That's July 8th, which isn't too many weeks away. So, yeah, patron AR info from last week. Was it helpful? Send us an email, geocachetalk@gmail.com. I know Cache Addict Mel, she got hers published or she put it out there?
It's published.
It published? Okay, good.
Yeah, it published. It was the first one in the state too. So she got to North Carolina, North Carolina. It was hard to. It took me a minute because I've talked to so many people this week. People have really reached out and, hey, I want to do this, or hey, I'm doing this, and that's cool. I'm glad to see people are jumping on board with it now. So, I mean, it really is the most exciting thing going on right now, right?
It is. I agree. There's so many cool things you can do that we haven't even really explored at all. I mean, to an extent. I included video. Mine's got video in it, which you gave me that suggestion. And I think that was.
I've built one of those as well.
Right. And I actually EGK PBR commented on mine saying, that's a great idea. I've got some ideas, based on that too. So I think it's kind of building. It's like people learn certain things, and it's like I think the buzz is still going about these, and so.
As we go on, we're going to try to, because this is it's only like what 3 months are doing it.
Yeah. And then hopefully they'll keep
going to move forward with this. So I've already seen some people make some comments in the chat room that let me know that people are digging into it. Because I've been digging into it as well, and there's some more code and there's some more stuff you're going to do. So we're going to keep hitting the shows, if even not taking up all the shows, because we don't want to make the whole show about that, right? But we're going to do some side videos, and I think what's going to help is the more creative people get with it, the more potential they see with it, that'll help them evaluate. If everybody just stays with, here's one, go get it, I don't think it'll stick around. I think that the possibilities are we're going to make it stay around. So, we'll get more into that too.
Yep.
But for another show.
Yep, for another show. Drink. Electric Water Boy. He's gonna
pass out before the show's over.
Pumping it. Yeah, exactly. Because I know he's probably not drinking coffee. No, he might be. All right. Last note, and it's something we don't. we try to cover a lot of things, and we know that, or we've gotten emails in the past about people who, for whatever reason, are they've either got some sort of they're working on whatever depression or they're sick or whatever, and our show really uplifts them, and it really means a lot to Jesse when we hear about that. But I do want to point out a couple folks. One is in the chat room tonight, Jeff Prindle. So if you guys in the chat room would give Jeff a shout out and give him your best thoughts and prayers and comments. I think Jeff's actually joining us from his hospital room. Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, if you got to go home or not today, but I know he was in the hospital, and it means a lot to us that you are taking some time to join us. And for everyone out there who listens to our show, whatever they happen to be doing,
He's still in there,
still in the hospital. So,
it's not a first I thought we were going to have on the show.
No, it wasn't. We get comments, people who are in all phases, right? Jess, we get the people who are doing great. They're out on the trail. They're listening to us, or we've had a couple people who say, I've been really not doing well, but you guys really uplift me, and I love listening to you guys because you're upbeat and you really get me through the day. And so, I also want to make shout out one other person, which is Frankie Peters, Dragon wife. She Geocaching Vet Tech is her GC code, but she's gone through a lot. She's double mastectomy. She has things lined up for some reconstructive surgery afterwards, but good friends of ours. She is very active. She comes up here with Garrick, and they come to our events, and to find out some of that kind of devastating news really affected a lot of us in the Texas geocaching world. And so we just want to give her our thoughts and prayers. And she has a GoFundMe page. If you're interested, just let me know, and I can get you in touch with that. But they're trying to figure out how to pay the bills, and Jesse's familiar with some of that. I mean, you've gone through surgeries, and
oh yeah, they're interesting, right? I mean, we all life still goes on. We're here talking about a game and everything else, but life does go on outside of this, and sometimes we're reminded of that, unfortunately.
Yep. And so, for anyone who's out there who, and hopefully we can uplift your day, whatever you happen to be going through. So,
speaking of that, we're going to talk about some fun stuff.
We are. You ready to go?
It's that second part, or part 2 of fun stuff.
Part 2, favorite finds, part 2. And tonight's interesting. We're going to talk about mystery, Earth Cache, letterbox.
Cache?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Earth Caches. I know.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. Mystery, Earth Cache, letterbox hybrid, webcam, and where you go.
Yeah, it's in the notes. You spelled it wrong.
Did I really spell it wrong?
Just to mess with me. I know why you did that.
I did that. Go ahead, but anyway, where I goes, we all love. So, all right.
Well, the funny thing about this show is it's part 2 to a show that kind of happened. Like, we always have stuff that we're talking about on the outside of the show or whatever. And a scheduling change, we subbed it in at the last moment, and we had a blast doing it. Kind of recounting some of our favorite ones. We hit traditional, multi, virtual, and events on the last one.
Yep, traditional, multi, virtual. Yeah, exactly right. And it was a huge hit, by the way.
Yeah, so I guess kind of recount those big ones. And if I guess people afterwards went and tried to figure their own out of these, and it's like a little memory lane trip. It's pretty fun to go back and check those every once in a while. We just keep going forward a lot of times without looking back on the adventures we've been through.
Yeah, it's funny. So all of our planning shows they do well. I mean, but this one is done incredibly well. We didn't really plan it. We just sort of threw it together at the last minute. So maybe we should do that more often. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. We really hit it. We hit a home run on the. You hit a home run on this one. This was your idea, and it's worked great. So
It's been a lot of
all
fun. I
right.
had fun going through these. That's one of the things we did this weekend was me and Christy went through and looked back through, and it as we'll talk about it, we'll see. But it reminded us of trips, and oh wait, remember this one? And we kind of
Right.
went back, and it reminded us of some other trips that we had done in the past. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, we're gonna talk about mystery caches, or unknown, whatever the question mark is.
But
I've
not
heard it,
challenge caches.
but not
We kind of
challenge
took that
caches.
out of it because that's a whole show of itself.
Yeah,
So this
different
is just
show. So
everything else in that category.
yep. So hopefully, if you can play along at home, or if you're driving, play along later.
Yeah,
Not while you're driving.
drive safely, please.
Just listen to us, and don't try to pull up geocaches while you're driving. So, but if you're at home, please pull up the following. We're going to start with my mystery, which is GC2 difficulty zero, tweezer, no terrain, same thing. It's a T 9. So the reason we use those too is because B's sound like D's, it sound like P's, it sound like so GC2.
And Gary's better than I am.
Well, I got my little cheat sheet next to me.
Cheater.
GC2, I know. Difficulty 0, terrain 9. And it is called Downtown Norman Tour West. Has 14 favorite points. And Jesse, I tell you why I love this cache. Well, one is it's in where my son works. He's the editor of the Norman Transcript, which brought home a bunch of awards. So congratulations to Caleb Slinkard.
There you go.
For all their awards for the Norman Transcript. But pull that cache up, and if you take a look, this is kind of interesting. In fact, let me do a quick screen share because I think some of these warrant screen shares. And this one's kind of hard to explain unless you kind of see part of it. So let me do the screen share on that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So it has these photos.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, in fact, we did one. Susan and I came back home, and there's one in Greenville. There's a Greenville tour that's like this, not as good, but I think this one's better. But ours is pretty good too. But the idea is you're going to walk around the downtown area,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to try to find these. And the cool thing is when you find number one, in this case, is First National Bank photo. If you walk over to where you can see this, you can then see the second one. If you walk to the second one. If you're over near number 2, which is the James Garner statue,
Mm-hmm.
if you start looking around, you can view the brew sign, and then you
That's
can go
cool.
from there. Isn't that kind of a cool idea? I love that.
Yeah, we have one like that here, or there's a series of 4 or 5 like that here in the town just north of me, and
Okay.
they're interesting. I think they like a photo tour.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
those are pretty cool.
Very cool. The only trick, of course, is when you get to the end, it obviously has to be a physical log with a physical, all that kind of stuff. But that's not hard to do. I mean, but so memorable. We really we love this cache, and Susan and I just got a big kick out of going around because you're doing something completely different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so different. So
well, it's just creative. It doesn't have to be that difficult. It's just that's fun and memorable.
Absolutely. So, all right, that's my mystery. Let me stop sharing. Go back to you, and you do your.
So for mine, I will point out that I thought it'd be kind of cheating if I used it, but technically, geocaching headquarters falls under the mystery category too. But I'm not going to use that one.
Okay.
Because that one does fall under that category, right? It's got its own icon, but it's under the mystery category. If you look at your profile.
Yes.
But
yes.
I mean, I'm not going to use that one, right? That was a fun trip, and we could talk about that one for a while, right? But I had another one. It stood out for both Christy and I as we went through this list. It's GC2 Jasmer Water 7 Water.
Oh, good.
GC2 JW7W. It's where everybody knows your name. Can you guess anything about it based on the?
Yeah, if you're old enough, you remember the show. The
Yep,
show
that's the one.
was Cheers.
It is. So it's the cache is pretty normal. There's nothing super spectacular about the cache. It's actually pretty good. And it's hidden well in the area. But it's right across the street from the Cheers bar where they filmed Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm old enough that I remember watching Cheers, and that was pretty neat.
Right.
And we had a blast. Of course, we went in, and you see the difference between TV and reality really quickly.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it's definitely Cheers bar, and there's some things inside that they are, that you can see. Yeah. And of course, we had to sit there and have a beer and make all the jokes about Norm and
Sure.
But we had a blast doing that. It was on a trip to Boston, and it was fun. So this one was fun. The cache was good, but I mean, it wouldn't have made the top 10, But it was where it is, and that it was tied into this. So this was a location-based favorite point. But me and 398 other people agree. So this one actually has 398 favorite points on it.
That's a ton.
It was a good one, and it was good because of the location. So it brings you caching can bring you somewhere too. So
that's something that I think is going to come up as a theme a little bit more tonight. And this is something I think hopefully everybody will reflect upon, which is, well, what are my favorite caches? And something like this, I think, is a really good example of, why did you give it a favorite point? I mean,
right. And I think that's interesting. That's a good point that it's going to be detailed tonight. Was it where it took you, the actual container, who you were with, what it meant to you, which is important to remember when you're going back. When you're going back and looking at favorites, why was this your favorite? So I tried to pick some different ones, so we'll get to that as we go.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
I think I said it wrong. 389, not 398 favorite points. Okay.
Oh, okay. Still though, thanks DNF Magazine. DNF Magazine's been in the chat room quite a bit lately.
On top of it, yeah.
Hats off to DNF Magazine. Thank you, buddy.
Do we even need to do this next category, or?
Yes, we do. Earth caches.
All right, I'll go first then.
Okay, you go first.
Actually, this one, looking through, there was actually a standout in this one. Interestingly, Earth caches can take you to some really good locations.
Oh, yeah.
But this one, it's let's see, GC 1, Fizzy 1, Fizzy 2.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's an easy one.
It is.
Sawash Rock. It was actually in Canada. So when we went on a trip to Canada, this was a pretty neat one. So it had the normal geology junk, in there, like they do. But
like how you put that.
We were in a park and getting the oldest cache in that province, and this one was nearby. And it was kind of funny because the area was just totally beautiful. And if you go to that cache page, you can see it opens up into this, into this little sound area, and it's a big rock, and there's biking trails and everything else. This is a beautiful park in Canada. It's just as green as it can be.
Right.
But it's one of those funny things where you're like, oh, it's like 100 feet from here. Let's go get this one. 100 feet doesn't always mean 100 feet away from you, right? So we had been hiking, and we're going up and up, and we're hiking. And we get this old ammo can, the oldest, and we're like, oh, it's like, I don't know, half a mile down the, we'll just go hike to this next part. Well, we get there, and I'm like, well, we're getting closer and closer. We're like 10 feet from it. Where is this thing? And I've seen the pictures. Yeah, it's like 800 feet below us. We're like looking out off a cliff, and you had to go back, and we went technically I was within like 10 feet of it, but
right.
So you had to go back as a different level of the park. Yeah, there's like bicyclists like way down, at the bottom. And
technically you're right on top of it.
It wasn't like a fall off. Yeah.
Yeah, because the GPS coordinates doesn't know necessarily what your altitude is.
It does not. So, not yet. Maybe one day, right? But yeah. So that was funny. That was just, we were having fun in the park anyway, but it was just a really good one, and it was done in the park. And I think Land Monkey actually recommended this park for us to go and find the caches. We met him up there for an event. So the whole kind of week was just great caches, and that was probably the coolest Earth cache that I've ever been to. For that reason, it was kind of funny when we, you fall into those old tricks.
So it's memorable in many different ways. like you said, that's cool. All right. So ours was very recently, and it's Illinois. It's called Illinois Low Point. GC1 Altoid 36 Fizzy. So I'll pop that in the chat room for people. This is the one we talked about. I think I told you about. We wanted to get it. We needed to get Illinois cache because we wanted to get the state. We hadn't gotten Illinois yet. So we left Little Rock, and instead of going straight to Cincinnati, we kind of went the north route to Cincinnati. So we went kind of a roundabout, not really too bad a roundabout, but we went through this little area, and it's the lowest point in Illinois, and it is the confluence of the Mississippi River and the Ohio River.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and again, what we're trying to figure out is, what we're discussing is why is this a favorite? A couple of different things. One is that the location sort of makes this earth cache, I think, really cool. Other than, because we've all done earth caches that are like, wow, look at their strata. I'm excited.
Yeah. Ooh, I can read a sign.
Let's log it, honey.
Sometimes I'm happy that it's like that when I get there.
Yeah,
to be honest,
that's true. Sometimes this one isn't like that. It has some cool things you have to do, which a little different. You have to do the elevation at the lowest point. You got to do some other little doodads to claim this cache, and so the only way you can know the true elevation of this, you just take your phone or your GPSR and you put it on the ground and you go, look the elevation. There you go, because it's not what you think it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised, and so I was like, oh, that was a great one, because you can't. I don't think you could guess it. I mean, I don't even, because it's not what you think the elevation would be. So anyway, but the cool thing is if you see the photo in the earth cache, is that you got the Mississippi and the Ohio, and they do something without giving away all the earth cache data. But
just give it away.
No, it's okay. But you watch it. There's actually, you see the photo. They live a photo of it. You can see what each, which river does what to the other river as they come together. And so it's really, and so you stand there and you stare at it for a little while. And you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, because one river almost kind of dominates the other river for temporary while they're coming together. So anyway, for those various reasons, it was, again, the first one we'd found in Illinois, so we got a state. So like it's a souvenir. Plus, we're headed to Gigastock. So I think this kind of lent itself to a favorite. Susan and I are on a we get our first holiday in some time because of job changes and stuff. So we're pretty excited.
That's what does it.
Right.
That's enough. So, you're like, we had a blast doing it for whatever reason.
We're out of the house. We've moved on, as far as, for the weekend, and we're very excited about it. And so there you go. That's our favorite earth cache. We've done some that we like.
And we've had this discussion before too, but favorite points, yeah, those are great for the owner, but those are yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you mark them how you want. And the log should really detail what you really like about it, right?
Yes.
But it's also drawing other people there for their experience. So you can use them however you want. We've talked about that before, but this list kind of reflects that. We have totally different reasons for a lot of these. So,
and we've enjoyed a lot, and we're not going to get into a big earth cache discussion tonight because we don't have time for that.
We don't want
But there have been several that we've enjoyed. A lot of them are in the Rocky Mountain National Park, and part of it's because you get to go to Rocky Mountain National Park. So there's
absolutely.
You're kind of excited, the highest elevation earth cache that we've talked about before is yours, that we found, Violent Explosion. And And that was fun because you're in the Alpine section of Rocky Mountain National Park. You're up really high. Was it like 9,000 feet or some crazy number?
At least.
At least. So anyway, all
and
right.
It's part of a geo tour as well.
It's part of the Geo Tour. So yeah, that kind of lends itself to.
Yeah, I get a bunch of emails on that one.
Oh, I bet.
Didn't think that one through.
But not necessarily just, because we're talking about different things. Not only favorite point, but this is our favorite of that type.
All that type.
So anyway, that's my favorite. That's our favorite Earth caches.
So moving on to Letterbox.
All right. So my favorite Letterbox, and also Susan's, because we tend to cache together most of the time, is GC2 Multi 34 X File. And I'll put that in the chat room. It's called Jules Letterbox, and it has, as I pull it up, a whopping 10 favorite points.
Oh.
And you're thinking, okay, why in the world is this your favorite? And I'll tell you why. Put that in the chat room. Letterbox hybrids. Boy, we could do a whole show on letterbox hybrids. That's for another show.
We need to do a show on that.
Yeah, I guess we should. But the reason this one gets favorite points is because of a couple different things. One is, again, we're on holiday. We're on vacation. We're at Moga. This was last year's Moga in Kansas. So these are the things that build up to the favorite in our mind. One is, obviously, like I said, we're on vacation. We're at Moga. So it's a great event. We're out geocaching, which is always great. But it's really who we're geocaching with. We got to go that day. Susan and I went out with a couple of bucks and geocaching with Derek, which is Dan Buck and his dad. So happy Father's Day to those two fine gentlemen. So that made it for a cool day. You're out geocaching with other people. I don't get to see them all the time. They live in Nebraska. So, we got to hang out with some people that we don't normally get to hang out with. It's kind of like you and I, we don't get to cache often, but when we do get to cache together, it's memorable. Whatever those caches are we find tend to be like, that's a cool cache. Why is it a cool cache? Because we were together and we got to do it together. So, that day though, was very special because this was the letterbox of one of our 12 cache types. Can I say 12 if you add in benchmark and waymark? Does that count? Do you think?
It does to me.
Okay. Officially on Project GC, it's 10 cache types. Still cool though to have that many cache types in a day. I know some people have done that. You've done probably at least that many. It's just a neat, as many as you can. But it's kind of neat to have a chance to do as many as you can in one day. And so this was the letterbox of those 10 caches.
Very cool. It reminds you of a good day then.
Yeah. I mean,
and the people you're with.
Yeah. So it was like a big combo platter to bring me to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So mine's kind of similar too. It has an odd name, but it was part of a series is why it's got that name. Okay. The name of it is GCR number 3, which I'm not going to say what that stands for. You'll figure it out very quickly. Gray Baron. And it was the GC number on it was GC68 kayak rating terrain.
Okay.
So this one was kind of cool because it's a letterbox. It was nearby town, but both for the final container and who I was caching with. So oddly enough, long time ago, and I've mentioned this on there before, but a buddy of mine is the one that found out about caching first and told me. It was another guy that I worked with at the police department and went out and found it. Neither one of us started at that time. Later on, I started, they cache every once in a while, but not tons. Well, he
Mhm.
was out here visiting from Tennessee, out here in Colorado, and his son was with him. And they'd taken him out and done a few things. Well, we were all out sightseeing, and his son goes, "You know, let's find a geocache while we're here." It's like, cool, okay. So the guy that first found out about it, I was taking his son to find a couple.
Mhm.
So that was kind of neat. We didn't find many, but we found a couple in town.
Right.
And this one was great. He'd only seen a few so far, maybe 25 or less at this point. And
Mhm.
we do this one, and I just happened to have already solved it. And we went to go find it. And letterbox, you go, you do, all the stuff that you normally do with letterbox. You start at
Yeah.
one location, figure out some puzzles. And this actually had like a video you had to watch also to try to get some
Oh,
clues to where
wow.
to start.
Very
Wasn't
cool.
super hard, but it was fun. It was the Gray
Mhm.
Baron, the Snoopy thing.
Yeah.
So it was
Cool
fun.
idea.
And then we get to the end, and it's a gadget cache. And of course,
Wow.
I'm setting the bar high, right, for this kid, right? Oh, they're all like this? No, they're not.
No.
But, so it was a cool little gadget cache. Wasn't super hard, but it was fun. And as much as I wanted to, I, hands off, and I let him figure out how to get into it. And
Right.
so that was cool. So it worked out that it was a fun little puzzle to solve. It wasn't too hard to get to, and it was a really cool gadget cache at the end that was all great when you're showing somebody something. And it didn't take us a long time. It wasn't a mountain climb or
Mhm.
anything like that. It was just right down the
Sure.
street, maybe 10 miles from my house or something. It wasn't, and that's been kind of the cool one. And the reason why, even without all the background story, the reason why that
Mhm.
one's my favorite is a lot of times if people are doing something like Letterbox or Multi or Where I Go, they'll kind of cheap out on the final
Oh, true.
because the
Yep.
journey is so good. This
Right.
one was a cool journey and then a cool final at the end too. So I like when people, go that little extra effort, and
Mhm.
the final is still cool. So that was kind of neat, and I wish more and more were gadget caches. Those are so much fun. So
It's like a bonus, like you said. You didn't expect. You probably didn't even expect the final to be of any. Because you're like, oh my gosh, it's already cool.
right,
Now you get like a bonus at the.
yeah. So those
Just
are
to
good.
kind of.
That's well put together and easy a favorite point on that one. So
Yeah. Very cool. All right, we're gonna now took webcam. So tell us about your favorited webcam.
um, this was a pretty easy one for us. We found 28 so far, and our favorite is still our very first one. It's at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. It's called Giraffe Cam,
Mhm.
and it's let's see.
It's also a 201 geocaches to find before you
It
die.
is. It is.
It is
So
for for,
GC
for very
Puzzle
good reasons.
Terrain Fizzy Zero.
Yep, I'm putting that in the
Um,
chat room right now. You want to
so
give
it's
that
our
one
very
more?
first webcam to find. So that makes it kind of cool anyway, right? Um, but then if you haven't been to the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, we're big zoo people also. Anytime we
Yes,
travel,
too.
besides geocaching and food and sports and stuff, when we get to local places, if there's a zoo nearby, we go to the zoo because the whole family likes the zoo. Well, this one's in the zoo, and it's Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, so it's
Yes.
literally on the side of a mountain. So instead of just walking around the zoo like you normally do,
Mhm.
oh, lions, bears, you're going up and up and up. And there's one of those alpine, the
Skyride.
the sky rides to go back
Yeah.
down, and you
Right.
can go up and down with it, but you can walk up and down this thing, and you're going up the side of a mountain on the zoo. So the zoo's really cool. So that location alone would have probably have done it.
Right.
But even better is what you do. So the webcam is facing the giraffes, obviously giraffe
Yes.
cam, right? But
It
it's facing out
does.
onto this little platform you go out to, and you feed the giraffes.
Yep.
You get a picture of yourself feeding a giraffe with like lettuce or this little, you know,
Like
large graham
for
cracker looking thing.
right.
Um, and how often do you get to feed a giraffe, right? So we get a
Exactly.
picture with all of us standing there, and my little one, or she was a little one at the time. She's the adult one now, but she's
Mhm.
feeding. She's a little bitty kid at the time, feeding
Right.
a giraffe. That's a pretty cool webcam picture. It's
It is.
definitely more fun than like standing in the middle of a street, right? Um,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
one has stuck with us ever since the beginning. So that is definitely our most favorite one.
Yep. GC.
Looks like some people have done it in the chat room too.
Oh, cool. GC Puzzle Terrain Fizzy Zero. I think I talked over you. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
GC Puzzle Terrain Fizzy Zero.
Yep.
Very cool. Like you said, yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, Susan and I, we went to the Cincinnati Zoo and had a great time. Like you said, we're big zoo fans too. Um, Keeper of the Cash Flow said that they've never done. I think they're referring to webcams. They've never done a webcam. That's very sad. You got to do at least one. I mean,
I would do at least one to get the icon.
Right, before they disappear forever.
Yeah.
But so ours is kind of interesting because it's again has a little story with it. I think most of our favorites have sometimes a story with them. But it's the Cheyenne Webcam Virtual Cache GC 51 difficulty 4, although it's not difficulty 4. That's just the name of it. But so I'm putting in the chat room. So just the D. So GC51D4. Been out there probably quite a while now. So here's the crazy story behind this thing. So we're at 14er, Geo Woodstock 14er. And I think I even asked you about this the day before. Yeah. But so I think it was the day before, and I asked you because there was going to be an event up at Pikes Peak. And so with any kind of mega, you've got to make decisions. You can't do everything.
No.
You physically just can't be at every location. So Susan and I had to make a decision that morning because we had heard, and this is July, by the way, this is how crazy Colorado is.
That's right.
But that's for another show. And that is, it was going to be icy up at the top. Did you go to that? Did you go up to that event?
No, I was way too busy.
You're way too busy. Josh, the geocaching vlogger, GC Doc went up there. A bunch of people went up to Pikes Peak for this event. So we had to make a decision. Susan and I sort of sat down and we at dinner, breakfast. We're like, okay, we got to make a decision. Do we want to attempt to go to the top of this thing and not only get like halfway and not make the event and so forth and so on? And looming in the distance, not very far away, is Wyoming. We never had a Wyoming cache before. So the state is calling us, come find a cache in our state, because we can get the icon. And so we're like, ooh. And there's a webcam there, which, as we know, are rare.
Just can't pass this up.
Just can't pass it up. So, and we didn't have any more. We're out of days. We can't really plan for anything like that. There was an event that night, it was a private event. See, you got to remember, not only do you have all the public event stuff, a lot of times, people get invited to family events, or well, not family, but
I'm glad you went to that one. The private
events. Yeah.
Or the show wouldn't exist.
Or the show wouldn't exist. Yeah. So we went to the private event for that. But Susan and I go to this Cheyenne Webcam Virtual Cache. So again, we're at a mega. We're having a great time. And we make this decision to drive. And it wasn't too bad. The drive up, it's a full day. Well, we went up and came back and got to a dinner. We went to a dinner event. But so you get up to the Cheyenne Webcam Virtual Cache. We get there and we're being silly and we're trying to get our photo. And if you remember this, it's a little tricky to get your photo.
It is
for this webcam. So you're looking at the camera on the web page that they have. It's at the airport. And so you're like, okay, where are people standing? So we're sort of re-engineering, or we're reverse engineering. Okay, where do you have to stand to get your photo in this shot? And so we finally figured it out. And so it's not an instant. Some of the cameras we've run into, and you've probably run into too, they're pretty instantaneous. They're every 5 seconds or something. This one's not like that. This one has a little bit more of a delay. So we're over by this fence and we're standing there and we're both looking at each other going, are we going to be in the shot, And so you wait and then it refreshes and you're like, oh, we're just like barely outside. I can barely see where they're supposed to be.
I think that's us, maybe.
Yeah. So eventually we get in the right spot. The refresh hits and we're like, yeah, there we are. We're this little tiny, we're waving. So I'm telling Susan, it's like, I think we got to start waving. Start waving. Start waving. So you get your photo with them waving. So anyway,
that was funny when we did it too. So we're there, and it was part of a group. Do you remember the August different types of August
Yeah,
promotions?
31 days in August.
That's when we did it.
Okay.
So we had an event that morning, a coffee event. We were going to try to go and get all the ones. Well, that was the closest webcam that the group could go get.
Right.
So we went up there to get that, and there's a group of us trailing all the way through to getting all these icons that day. And it wasn't a mega or anything like that. It was just that August promotion. Right. And we're all just sitting there doing the same thing. Is this us? And we had an iPad, and we're, is this us? I don't know. It was a busy day, so there was people everywhere. And we're like, is that group ours? I don't know. Because you couldn't park where it was.
No, you can't.
The cars are really not detailed. We're sitting there, and one of the ladies that's there with us goes, "Oh," and I'm like, "What? Is she mad because we haven't figured this out?" We're trying to brainstorm. She walks over to her car, comes back, and goes, "Oh," and just opens an umbrella, and then it was song. We're there.
Perfect. Right.
She's looking at us like, "You dummies, come on!" She just walks over, gets this big red umbrella from her car.
Right. Like, oh, there you are.
They're mine. Click. Trying to wave and stuff, and there's people around. It's like, oh yeah, they probably should have done that.
What on earth are those people doing? Yeah. So webcams can be great fun. They really can.
Yeah.
And Zach tried to do one night, and he got ran off by the cops. So
yeah.
The Leos said, sorry.
LEO encounter on live on the air.
On Geocache Talk. Sir, you need to move along. Okay. We're gonna move along. All right, we got one more.
Keep trucking through. We'll be here for 3 more hours.
Yes, we got one more.
The best type ever, Where I Go, of course.
Where I Goes.
I was just gonna say all of them, but it'll let you start.
Right, all of them. I've had a lot of great. I have had a lot of good Where I Goes. I joke about the one you and I did because there were so many steps to it, but I needed the steps.
Good, though.
Yeah, it was because you pick stuff up, inventory. And I never done the inventory before, and we're having fun because
Oh yeah.
So I do kind of joke about that one just because it's fun to kind of poke at it. It was a very early Where I Go the person had done, but it's got a lot of favorite points too. But it's in Arlington, so if you come down for Gigastock, go check out the unnamed one I just mentioned. I didn't give a GC code for, but I do want to give a GC code for this one. It's also in Kansas, called There's No Place Like Home. The GC is GC73 Hike Event Jasmer. Hike Event Jasmer. And I'll put
it in there while
you got the chat room? Okay, good. So I'll pull it up. All right. So the story behind this one is there's a couple of reasons why this becomes a favorite. It's got 55 favorite points. So it's not just me. Apparently, some other people like it too. It also was on Moga. It was the Where I Go cache type of Susan Eyes for the 10. So we're at Moga. We're out with a couple of bucks and geocaching with Derek. So we're having a grand old time together. We went to do this one, and it is a reverse Where I Go, which I'm a huge fan of reverse Where I Goes because there's a lot of Where I Goes are fun. This one is different. I think this is the very first. Yeah, it is. It was the very first reverse Where I Go we'd ever done. I actually own one now. Jesse helped me set one up. And
I did.
Yep. And Susan and I did this one with a couple bucks and geocaching with Derek, and it's so cool because you take a reading. If you've never done a reverse Where I Go, I highly suggest doing them or even setting them up. They're really cool. But you take a reading and it says you are 923 feet away from it or something, whatever it happens to be. And you're like, okay, great. So
only a distance, no bearing.
Yes, no bearings, no nothing. It just gives you a distance. So you're like, okay, let's walk this direction. So you walk one direction. You're like, you are now 1,123. Oh, like, oh, nope, not that direction. So you kind of have to hone in on it. So you walk a little ways. So, we take another reading. Oh, we're down to 400 feet. Oh, we're doing it now. We're in the right location. So we get down. And so you kind of keep doing these bearings checks to see where you are. And so we're getting close. We're like across the street in the wrong spot, and we're walking around. And so finally, we actually get in the right location for this cache because you got to, we got to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, so we're feet away. We can now dig for this cache. And it's kind of hidden in a cool spot at this house, and won't give it away completely. But the reason there's no place like home is because it's Wizard of Oz themed. And so we're like, and what's funny about it is didn't really, it might have dawned on, it didn't dawn on me that, brainless Gary. I'm like, oh, there's no place like home. It's Wizard of Oz themes. And Susan's like, well, yeah, take a look at the side of the house. And it's like, oh, now I know why it's Wizard of Oz themed.
Yeah.
And so, once we were done, it was like, wow, that was a cool idea
Mm-hmm.
for a Where I Go, something completely different. And it's reverse. They call it reverse cache box or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and they're not very hard, right, to set up. They're not too bad.
No, they're really easy. If you've done any programming Where I Goes, they're super easy, and they don't all have to be just hit the button. It can be answer a question and you get it.
That's
you don't
true.
answer the question, you don't get it. So you got to start over.
Right.
Those are fun though, and I've actually done that one too. That Where I Go.
Yeah.
When we were out there from Oga.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty neat. It's a crazy final, and you get tons of pictures you're taking, but it's hard because you don't want to take pictures and post them because it's obvious where it is. If you take a picture, kind of big time spoiler, but it's hard to take the pictures and post them somewhere at some point.
Yep. All right. Well, you've got to narrow down all the cool Where I Goes in the world. To one.
Actually, it wasn't that hard.
Oh, good.
I've done some good ones and I've done some stinkers. And when Christy and I were talking about this list, she jumped out with it immediately.
Oh, wow.
So it's GC 44 terrain multi-zone.
Yep.
It's the Boston Freedom Trail. So this was on that same Boston trip as before.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was great. Despite some things, this still overcame all that stuff. So it was put together well. So we're visiting with some friends in Boston. We're going to some baseball and doing some other stuff like that.
Yep.
We get off the plane. We get to, ride over to Boston. They're not there yet, so we're not checking into our condo at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all of our luggage. Like, it's just me and Christy. We have all of our luggage, a couple bags each.
Right.
And we're like, well, what are we going to do for an hour until they get here? We can't check in anywhere, and we can't really drop our luggage off anywhere. So let's go caching, of course.
Sure.
So we saw this, and I've been wanting to do this on any of this. Where I Go, and Where I Go is the Boston Freedom Trail. And if you know anything about history,
love the Boston.
We could talk about that for an hour easily.
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome.
You're walking this history now, and we did it. So with our suitcases, a couple miles worth.
That's a trek, by the way.
And it was hot.
Oh man,
I would have paid $50 for any bottle of water if somebody came up. We did get some water and some ice cream along this thing, but Paul Revere's house and all these places that are legitimate history places that are still there.
Oh yeah, the State House and
it was cool. So just the
hall.
Christy's a big history nerd, so she loves that, and a lot of times it does overlap with geocaching, But this one was a great one, and we could have easily got sidetracked just walking around and seeing all these really neat things, And there was like tours doing the same thing that we were like, people walking and it was great. It was the history alone, and it was well done. So like the history matched exactly where you were, and you're like, he's like, look up, that's Paul Revere's house, and you're like,
right,
what? That's crazy.
Very cool.
So tying that real history into that and doing it, even to the fact that we're carrying heavy suitcases around in 1,000-degree weather in Boston in the middle of the summer, still our favorite Where I Go to date. Wasn't super hard, wasn't a high difficulty terrain rating or anything like that. It ties into the history of the location, and sometimes you just can't beat that.
Oh yeah, perfect.
So still the coolest. Still the coolest Where I Go. That would have been the coolest of whatever type that was. I don't know how you would have done it with the other types, but the Where I Go was great.
All right, so as we look back over our little list of the favorites, part 2, what are some of your thoughts about why you and I, we've had different experiences, but yet, what are your thoughts?
So, who you're caching with.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that experience. Uh, it could be the location it takes you to.
Right.
It could be how you have to get to that location. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the other ones, if we're talking about both of the shows, and somebody in the chat room brought this one up too, the virtual that was Ed Watson was a bad man we mentioned on in the first
Mm-hmm.
part of the show.
Sure.
That was that 5-5 virtual in Florida, which
Yep.
essentially was 2 days of kayaking, then a motorboat out to this island in the middle of nowhere, and it was
Right.
awesome. The coolest virtual ever, it was great. Or it's the container at the end, which all these things are not actually even the cache, right? So all those previous things I just mentioned are not even the final cache. And the final cache, whether it's a gadget cache or just a really creative cache or something the first time you ever seen it,
Mm-hmm.
um, it could be a favorite before you even get to the geocache. It may have
Right.
earned a favorite all the way up to that point, and then you get there and it's something just really crazy, one of those
Mm-hmm.
hidden in plain sight things. Um, which I
Mm-hmm.
found one this week, and it's really odd. And I'm gonna have to ask Nick about it because an FTF showed up. I went and found it, then it disappeared.
Hmm.
And we'll have to talk about that, on another show. But I've never seen that happen before. Um, that's
That's some coffee there.
mhm.
You mean it
Yeah, mine
disappeared
too.
while you
Um,
were trying to find
so
it?
yeah, it's gonna get us off topic, but
Okay.
FTF showed up. I got the email. It showed up in
Yep.
Cachly. I went and found it. Um, I went to log it, and it said not an available cache. I went on geocaching.com. It also wasn't there. So we got pulled after I found it, but before, I don't know. It was weird. So I'm gonna
Oh,
ask Nick about that when he comes on. But
or
um,
locked. Remember the one you and I found when I was taking you to the airport after the Texas Mega? Remember we found one and we tried to log it and we couldn't log it. And I sent a
yeah, it
note
was
to
like
the
that.
I sent a note to the reviewer and I said, "Hey, we're trying to log GC blah blah blah." He goes, "Oh, I'm trying to unlock all these because they were right after the Mega and he was busy. I understand."
Oh,
So he
absolutely.
unlocked it, and I think we actually were able because we had to kind of hit the road. We had to get you to the airport, but I think
Mhm.
if you remember, we logged that cache, or you and Susan both logged it while we are driving because we'd already signed the log. We were FTF on that,
Right.
but
This
we
is the
couldn't
same
log it
thing.
because it was locked. So
This is
so
wild. So I don't know what happened to this one. Maybe they
right.
lost permission to have it there or something.
Is it not been published yet?
Still not published.
Oh wow! But you signed the log.
Yeah. But anyway,
Okay,
the whole reason I brought that up was
right.
because it was right by a business and it was like one of those hidden in plain sight. Like
Oh
I
right.
guarantee you people walk by that all day long
Yep.
and have no idea it's a geocache. But a geocacher walking by,
Mm-hmm.
it was it was simple too. It's so simple, and I'm going to use this again. So I don't know if I want to say it or not, but
Right. No,
those
that's cool.
standard black magnetic key boxes.
Yeah.
Um, it was one of those, but it had a reflector, like a red bicycle reflector, stuck on top of it,
Oh,
and it was just
okay.
sitting on top of a pole, and it blended perfectly into that
Perfect.
pole. And like for us walking up, we're like, "Wow, there's a geocache right there." For everybody else, they're like, they would never think
Never
twice about
see
that at
it.
all.
Never
It
think about
blended
it. Yeah,
perfectly in. It was funny.
that's a
So
good
I hope it
idea.
comes back out because one, I got FDF, and two, it's a great hidden plain sight one, right? So,
Yeah.
um, that's very creative though.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we kind of wrap up tonight, I mean, that's we kind of I wouldn't say challenge, but we want people to reflect back on a couple things. One is, and some people mentioned in the chat room, it's like, oh, I've never done that cache type yet. And so one is you need to go do that cache type. If
Definitely,
you've never done it where I
all the
go,
cache types.
go do one. But we would suggest if to make it memorable, or and so that you not only give it a favorite point, but maybe it becomes one of your favorite of that cache type.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do it with other people. Try to do it. Go to events, go to megas, meet people if you're not. I mean, people are. This is for another show too, but wait, hang on. No, I'm kidding. Some people are not big. Get out, meet and greet. You know, hundreds of people or something. And really, Jesse aren't really even that kind of type. But we'll meet people, and we kind of get to know some folks, and then we kind of look forward to seeing them at different events. And
Right.
you know, so I mean, go do some caching with other folks. I know some people
Mhm.
do it by themselves, and I know for some people that's all they can do. They really don't even know anybody, or they don't have whatever. But periodically try to find somebody to do caching with.
You can absolutely find somebody to go caching with.
Yeah,
This is that kind of game.
it really
Somebody will go
is.
caching with you. Even if you
Yeah.
don't know people in the area, you're in a brand new area.
Mhm.
They're absolutely.
Post a note. We talked about a couple weeks ago. We talked about the folks who on the AR catching show. We talked about the folks from Great Britain who came over, and they didn't have a car, and Cachetic Mail helped them out
Yeah.
and
So if
drove
you
them around a
haven't
little bit.
found all the types or
Yeah,
gone to events, get out and do those.
yeah,
If you've found them all, it's a fun little exercise to do. Go reflect back and look by each type. You may be surprised at some that you're not even thinking about that were great
Mhm.
experiences. You may have great photos, read your log. Hopefully it's not a +1 or a TFTC log, right?
Right.
But you may have just it's a good reflecting back. It's a good memories on these.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll revisit this someday. I think it's a cool thing to talk about, and I think it's really good. I think that's why these two shows will probably end up becoming pretty popular downloads, because I think people like to hear these kind of stories because it makes them think back about things that they've done that are
It's a
good
fun exercise
memories.
going back through them.
Yep.
It
Yep.
really is.
Cool. All right. Coming up on the show next week, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, will be on. He just went to, in fact, I think he's still over there. He'll be back this week from Germany. And so we're really looking forward to hearing about his stories. He got to speak at an event. So we get to hear about that, and we'll show you as many photos and videos that we can on his trip to Germany. So looking forward to his updates back with us. And then in 2 weeks, Ryan Simmel will be on the show. We're going to talk about the National Trails System Act 50th anniversary. So how about that? That's a mouthful, but looking forward to that. And we're going to talk about the different trail, the geo trail related to that, and just talk about. There's a lot of cool things about the National Trail System. I didn't even realize till I started doing some research on it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably a national trail near you right now, and you probably don't even know it's out there. And it's considered it's part of the National Trail System. So, and then in 3 weeks we'll be doing the show with Nick from Cashly, talking about Cashly 4.3.2 and the Apple Watch, and just wearables also a little bit in general. We'll probably talk about the future of where that is headed. So we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at geocachetalk and at Gary Slinkard, at Memphis_Mafia also. But we tend to be doing a lot more Instagram of late, Geocache Talk or Memphis Mafia. Both those are one word. And I know Jesse's been trying to do some video too, right?
Yeah,
On Instagram.
that's we we did one about a week ago, right? And about the first 2 minutes of it was us trying to figure out how to do it.
Right. That's true. We did figure one out though. This week we figured one out. So that worked out great. So we're going to try to do more of those on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, our Facebook page is facebook.com/geocache talk. Show can be found iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, and as always on the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button below and click the little bell so you can get an update of when we're on, which is every Sunday, 8 p.m. And although once in a while we will do a show on a different time to accommodate our international guests. So you want to basically make sure you subscribe so you get an update on that. And tell your friends about the show. Spread the word about us, and Geocache Talk. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Go search for your new favorite find and go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.